We're live streaming.
We're live streaming.
We're not live streaming, we're fake streaming.
So, guys, how was your Christmas? We are Jane Morton and Polly Harnett from the Sunday Soul Search, and we are welcoming you back into our lives this week. Been a lovely Christmas for me. How's it for you, Jane?
Been a strange, quite sort of a quiet, smooth Christmas in the amount of people this year, because normally we've always got loads of people to cook for, but a weird one because obviously I've got my stepmum in hospital. We couldn't get her out for Christmas, and my mum had a full Christmas Eve, so she couldn't come out Christmas Day.
Dear.
So a bit of a weird one, to be honest. I don't even feel like it was Christmas, other than the fact I got a tree up. I didn't eat my dinner. I didn't want it after cooking, helping Amy cook. I didn't do all the cooking. So yeah, weird. Didn't feel like Christmas. Do you know what it reminded me of this year? It reminded me of the COVID Christmas.
Did it?
Yeah, 100%. It felt like the COVID Christmas. Because I still went to Amy's for COVID, even though we was all told to stay, not go anywhere. But I went to Amy's because, I said she was my carer. But that's what it felt like, a very quiet, subdued sort of Christmas. And I think it is because the build up to it was obviously trying to get my stepmum out of hospital. And then my mum don't even not long come out of hospital herself, had she, from her other fall. And now she's gone and done this. And she's got two very nasty black eyes.
Oh, dear. Poor
So yeah,
mum.
it wasn't horrible, but it was weird. It was like people should have been there and they weren't there. And in a weird way, it made me reminisce over the people that can't be there ever again. So I had a little bit of a down memory lane moment at one point. But then again, is that because in the Chinese astrology, we're just about to shed the last remaining of our skin as the year of the snake and move into the fire horse. So it is about letting go of old memories, and obviously bad ones as well. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't letting go of good memories, but there was a reminder of how many people I've lost in this last decade.
I think it is. I mean, Christmas is one of those times, isn't it, that does really make you think. Because obviously, I might have said before that my mum passed away quite a long time ago now, about 23 years ago. And, I always think about, obviously we're mediums, so we know that our loved ones in spirit are absolutely fine up there, probably better off up there than they are down here, to be fair. But it's still, I guess it makes you think about our subject today, which is families or family, and
We are families.
those that are there and those that aren't there. And there's the old generation who have passed to spirit, and there's the new generations of our grandchildren, for example, isn't there? Where, let's say, that they probably are the ones that keep Christmas alive, aren't they, at the end of the day? Because, you've obviously got grandchildren, I've obviously got grandchildren. And it's like the festivities that lead up to that. It's family get-togethers. I mean, I had a very busy Christmas because I was away in Leicestershire for the weekend before Christmas, and didn't get back till the Monday. And then we had my stepdaughter over for her section of Christmas. And then we had Christmas Eve because my partner is Spanish. And so in Spain, Christmas Eve is a big thing, and you have like seafood and stuff like that. And then we had Christmas Day, and it was all very busy. There's lots of people involved, and it was probably one of the busiest Christmases I was the opposite, one of the most busy Christmases I've had. Boxing Day was quite sedate. We went over for a little shop, and then we watched Stranger Things. Got my Stranger Things top on today. Wore it to watch a few episodes last
I
night, and
can't see
then
it. What is it? Is it
Squawk
is that the
FM, the radio station. Dustin was wearing it last night.
shows how much attention I paid. I sneaked in 2 episodes in between prepping for Boxing Day because I had my brother and wife and their son round yesterday. But I sat and watched 2 episodes when I should have been prepping food. And then I watched the last episode this morning. And obviously we've got to wait now to New Year's Day, haven't we? So yeah, I've still got Stranger Things in, despite all my strange activities I've had this last few weeks. But no, I mean I've had many a busy Christmas. I mean my Christmas again starts sort of Christmas Eve, because I always, when the kids were young, I used to make a thing about doing stuff on Christmas Eve. And then like the build up into Christmas Day, I always was one that cooked every year and have done for God knows how many years. And my daughter actually cooked this year, but she was poorly.
No.
So I I cooked the turkey and did the cauliflower cheese, and then we all went round there, and she was feeling a bit rough, so I was helping her out in the kitchen, but you could see she was struggling with it, where she felt so ill. And obviously we were all a bit down because of my stepmom not coming out, and we was all, because she usually comes to me on Boxing Day. And then obviously I got the phone call from my mum to say she'd had that fall. I mean, she's still recovering from her broken ribs, and she broke a bone in her back. And bless her, she was on her own, so she had to get up. There was no one around her. She had to get up and walk another 10-minute walk, carrying her shopping like that as well. So she has got a
No.
mobile phone. She still don't you take it out of her. So it was a weird, quiet one because obviously my mum couldn't come, and I always have my mum wherever I go. She's always with me because she always comes to me for Christmas. And then obviously Boxing Day, we've always had. It's always my brother's always come to me, and my dad used to come with his partner who's in hospital, and then we'd have all our kids, even when they were growing up, and even the grandkids. And I think in these last couple of years, that's where I've noticed it. Because obviously, as you know, I don't see my older two grandchildren. I've been stopped from seeing, well, my granddaughter. My oldest one is old enough to make his own mind up. But so I didn't have them round. I haven't had them round for the last 2 years. And then with my dad passed away, he hasn't obviously been there. Now my stepmom couldn't make it. And it's like people have obviously passed, and that's can't help that. I can go into mediumship in front of everyone, but it's probably not a dumb thing on Boxing Day. And then you've got the people actually here that are struggling to come for whatever reason. So I've noticed my Christmases are getting smaller and they're getting quieter. I mean, it's my mum's birthday on Monday. It's Drew's birthday on Tuesday. It was my nan's birthday on New Year's Day. It's always been a busy celebration, literally from Christmas Eve right the way through, because it's always been non-stop family get-togethers.
Mm.
Think the family, people do get older. The kids want to do their own thing. Our older kids have got their own kids, so obviously they're doing their own thing. It's just become something that I've noticed it's getting smaller and smaller for me, where it was
Mm.
always such a big thing. And maybe I should embrace that because it's always been so hectic and I've been the one doing the hecticness. But I don't know. I think I'm a bit subdued. I'm not, we'll get onto that because we're talking about families. I'm not depressed. I'm not fed up. I'm not in any way sitting here bar humbug because I didn't do that. My tree's up, the presents were all done. We made a nice effort with the food. I honestly think I just felt subdued, and I think that's come probably where I've not been well. And with my mum and then my stepmum, one, straight after the other in hospital. I seem to
Mm.
spend a lot of time in the hospital since leaving it.
Yeah. Hope hopefully that's not a sign for you to
I
go
don't know
back.
why I gave the job up, really. I might as well just stayed there. At least I could have swiped in the ward quicker because there's hardly any staff these days, and waiting to get in a ward is a little bit like pulling teeth. So it's not. I haven't had a horrible Christmas by far, but it's really felt weird, a little bit
Mm.
subdued, a little bit like, is it really? Was it? Is it really Christmas? Was it really Christmas? And I think, like I said, for me, it dawned on me, oh, it's a bit COVID-y, where everyone had to keep it restricted or small. It
Mm.
felt a bit like that because that's the first year ever I never had my mum for Christmas dinner.
Wow.
Not actually eat her because obviously I'm not a cannibal, but actually have her with me for Christmas Day. That was the first time ever because obviously she wasn't allowed to then. You know me, I would have broke the rules, but mum was scared to break the rules, so she didn't want to come, but cried all day because she couldn't come.
Bless her. It's
Yes,
hard,
I
isn't it,
think that's a
though? It
weird,
is hard.
weird feeling for me this year. Weird. Like I said, it's not horrible, but just weird, a bit subdued.
Yeah. But it must I mean, obviously being readers, we know are mediums and we're psychic readers and we tarot card readers. And I have had a lot of people well, actually before Christmas. And it wasn't just about Christmas, but there seems to have been a run of, let's call it, family feuds, right? And I mean, when we sort of a little think of this, I don't know, this idyllic, there's mum, there's dad, there's the children, take away all the bad stuff. And you have this sort of preconceived idea. And even when you go into like relationships and having children and families yourself, you have this preconceived idea that, when you have children, it's all going to be great, everything's going to be lovely. And it isn't always like that. And some people haven't got the perfect parents, have they, at the end of the day? But I've found, that you said about the shedding, I felt that there's been a lot of people that have been almost, let's say, getting to that point where you realize, you see all these things about you only get one mother and you only get one father. But if that mother or father is a complete narcissist or really controlling or actually cruel, I found a lot of people are almost, let's say, needing permission. And I'm not giving them permission. As readers, we can't tell people what to do. We say what's there and say, that it might be a healthier situation for them if they move away from a situation, for example. But there's been a lot of it. And I think we have to realize that we come into this world for a reason. Some of us might have a massive, significant reason. Some of us might have a little reason. But at the end of the day, I feel like this shedding situation is expanding to people realizing that they don't need to be controlled anymore. They don't need to be put down anymore. They don't need to be made to feel bad or insignificant. Not in any situation, whether that be their partners, their children sometimes who can really manipulate, their parents who could be complete narcissists. And realizing that actually by moving away from all these situations and people, that actually all they're going to do is enrich their lives. They're not going to have that hanging over their heads anymore. And I've just found it very interesting that there's been because we often get themes, don't we, within in readings that, it could be relationships, it could be work situations. A lot of in COVID, for example, there was a lot of situations around work, business, money, and relationships. But now it seems to be coming very much around relationships, whatever they are, friendships that are like family, brothers, sisters, uncle, aunts, grandmas, grandfathers, mums, dads, that they just realize that they don't have to be in a situation like that. And they don't have to follow those rules anymore. Once you get to adulthood, you've got to start thinking about you, your strength going forward, your mental health going forward. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's better to choose your own family, isn't it? Your friends. I've got not loads of friends, but the friends I've got, I feel are good friends and they have my back. And, as much as I would give them, I know they'd give me back. Does that make sense? There's a balance in it, which is nice. Luckily, I'm lucky in the fact that I've got a good family. You know what I mean? As in, I love my family. I don't see them all the time because I'm in the south and a lot of them in the Midlands or the north. But I'm grateful for that. But then obviously when I'm here, the only family I've got are my children. But I see my friends as my family because I know I can rely on them. I know that I could, we can chat about anything, good, bad, ugly, you know what I mean? And they're still friends. It doesn't matter if we see each other like little, it doesn't matter if we see each other often. But there are people that feel very secluded as well in that, isn't there? Because if they have come away from their families for whatever reason that is, sometimes they're so demoralized by life that they've excluded themselves from everything. So
Yeah.
family to me doesn't always have to be blood. It doesn't have to be because somebody gave birth to you. It doesn't have to be because somebody helped in the situation of conception. It doesn't have to mean that, does it?
No.
I
And I've
think
seen
people.
quite a few posts of people we know that have actually spent Christmas Day with their friends, not with their
Yeah.
family, but with a group of friends where they've had dinner together and done things. So you're right, it doesn't. I mean, and we talked about this in the show before, leading up to Christmas. You haven't got to spend Christmas with anyone if you don't want to. We did the statistics on that a lot of younger generations don't. And you don't have to accept it's Christmas. You can just get on as you normally do. And some people like the peace and quiet as they've had a hectic year, but it's what's right for you. So I think, I mean, you're right. With family feuds, obviously, it's normally stuff that you avoid all year, innit? And you go around for Christmas dinner or Boxing Day dinner or even Christmas Eve, and you're trying to keep your mouth shut and the wrong thing said and it all explodes. Lucky for me, I've always spoke my mind, so they get it most of the year. There's nothing new there. And I'm like I said, I'm not moaning about this Christmas. I'm saying it was just a subdued, it suddenly dawned on me it was a little bit COVID, a little bit quiet, a little bit quiet.
Mm.
And people that I really tried to help and like my mum and stepmom, and I couldn't. It was out of my hands to do anything about that. But I think what I noticed more, because like you said, being a reader, being a medium, being a healer, we spend a lot more time helping people. So when we're on our own, we still reflect on what we need or what we may need to release. And I think I realised that I've been very lucky and very privileged for a long, long time, even as a child, that I spent so many of my Christmases in a family unit
Mm.
with my dad's family, my dad's brother's children, my cousins who I'm the closest to. We always grew up with that Christmas Day evening celebration. We were always, together. even between Christmas and New Year, as I had children, I always did a party between Christmas and New Year for all my family, including my cousins. And I think I'm lucky in that way that I've had those busy growing up Christmases, even into adulthood. You know, two husbands behind me, I've still had busy Christmases with either, it's always been around my family, not because I'm selfish, but just because, I mean, I've actually, my first husband, we did see his family as well. But my second husband, family didn't live near here, so they only see us for a little bit and then did their own thing. So I took it on reflection that I'm very privileged and lucky that I've had good Christmases. And I think last year, for the first year ever, not having my oldest two grandchildren on Boxing Day was hard. And you know that was hard for me. But
Mm,
again, I flipped that round. It was a much harder for my son not to see his children. And this year, it's the second year without them. And I've learned to accept it, but it's still hard for him. So there's always that mother instinct in me where I'm still hoping he's having a good Christmas
mm,
because he's had a tough 4 years, as you know. And this is his first Christmas that I can see a difference in him. And he's trying to build his life back, children in it or not. So that for me was good. So, you know me, I don't moan about, I don't sit there feeling sorry for myself and wallow in self pity. I actually will flip it round and think, "Do you know what? Maybe it's a positive that it's been quieter
mm.
for me. Maybe I needed a quieter Christmas."
I think you probably did because you have had quite a busy year with one thing and another, health and all sorts, haven't you? You know,
Yeah.
sometimes kicking back and actually just chilling out. I mean, you've still got things going on around you, of course, you know, with your mum, your stepmom, and things like that. But you've been so involved in that, and you know, you are. When I say a real family person, I mean lots of people wouldn't help in that situation. Lots of people wouldn't put themselves forward, or there is one sibling or what have you, isn't it, that just sort of seems to take control or be involved like that. But you have, you know, nobody's asked you to do it. You just do it. And it's because of the sort of person you are. You love your mum, you love your stepmum, you know, and you love your kids and you want everyone to be happy and you do everything. And I just always think, you know, you do such a good job. Sometimes putting yourself last in the queue, but you're not doing it in a way where you're being a martyr about it. You just do, you know?
Oh, they might tell you I do.
You know, but any good person, any good parent or any good child would put themselves forward, you know, if needs be. I'd go up to Leicester and help my dad if there was a problem. Do you know what I mean? There would just be no second thought about it. That's what I'd do. And it's obviously harder because they're a little bit further away, but, you know, I'm self-employed. If I want to go and do that and working around it, then I can do that, you know? But you know, there's lots of people that perhaps maybe it's not because they're being selfish. Some people literally physically and mentally and emotionally can't handle something like that. You know, it's not their
Yeah,
fault
and to be fair,
necessarily.
like I said, I didn't sit around a table with one person, which I know my dad a couple of times just did that. He'd go, "Oh, I'm staying in Christmas Day with Jill," because I always had my mum Christmas Day, but more my family got on. My mum and dad still got on, and I'd go, "Are you sure?" And he'd go, "No, I'll see you Boxing Day." And him and Jill would have their Christmas dinner on their own, and then they'd all come to me Boxing Day, which is why Christmas Day and Boxing Day has always been a massive family thing, and I've always done the cooking and the entertaining, which I've always been able-bodied to do. But obviously, the years since my injury and obviously my other little problem has obviously stopped me being as able-bodied there. But I still sat around a table. I mean, it makes me say, "Oh, so subdued." I sat around the table with all three of my children, my three children. I sat with my two youngest grandchildren and my son-in-law and my youngest son's girlfriend. So we were still eight of us sat around a table. There wasn't like just me and the boys. It was eight of
Mm,
us. I think it was because my mind was probably slightly elsewhere with what was going on with my mum and stepmum because I
mm,
couldn't help them. So yeah, and I know I'm still lucky to have had the day with my grandchildren, even though I probably see him nearly every day anyway. And yesterday, catching up with my brother and his wife because we all are just so busy. When the older you get, it's not so much a busy. You're getting older. You've got things you've got
mm.
to do, and it's hard fitting everyone in. But we're always there for each other. So yeah, I mean, it was a small Christmas, and I think that's what I had to get my head round. Oh, this is a small Christmas.
Yeah.
I have four grandchildren, but I only see two. That is quite upsetting. One, obviously the oldest one, I text and he texts back, so we at least we have contact. People have even commented in the past and gone, "Well, you've still got two." Well, no, I've got four. I've got four in my bloodline. That's what I've got. You know, I've always had four parents, sets of like, my two parents with they both had partners. I've always had that. And me and my brother said yesterday, we think since my dad passed 8 years ago, and we made such a big deal about that Christmas at the time, because we knew he was getting poorly. We both admit he was a very strong energy. You either loved him or you hated him, it was like Marmite. And you knew that there was something about him for Christmas. You knew he was in the room. It's the only way I can put. And we both admitted over the 8 years, we've dealt with his death in different ways. Probably me a bit better on the spiritual side. Like you said, we have a better connection there, but we miss him. We miss that big character so we were saying, I mean, he's in his 60s now. I'm heading towards my 60th. We're not young people. We might still think we're young and act young, but we're not young people. So we've to get to this age where some of our friends and family haven't and didn't. I mean, my
Mm,
uncle, died at 51. I think it was 51, 50, 51, 52. Cousins are correcting me if they're watching. I mean, that's no age, and I'm nearly a decade in front of that. So we are privileged, and we know we were privileged, and thankfully, I don't think I've ever had a Christmas where I can remember a row. Not with my parents, not with my relatives, and not even with my own family, but probably because 'cause we're so outspoken, like I said.
yeah,
We say it anyway, and we say it whatever, even at Christmas. Maybe the in-laws or the partners that have had to come into our family have probably had to sit and go, "Oh, what the."
cringe. Yeah,
Because we are so like, but we're very lucky there. So we are privileged there. But I suppose getting back to the theme of our show, we know that a lot of people probably had quite a few rows
yeah,
around Christmas Eve when you forgot to get the turkey out the freezer, or in my case, is your food part of Christmas. Shows how disengaged I was to a degree. I bought two gammons. I don't know why, because I don't think I was thinking straight. Maybe I didn't realise I bought one. Honestly thought the date said the 27th on one to put it in the fridge, not the freezer.
right.
Went to cook it Christmas Eve and it said the 17th.
No,
My more expensive, bigger gammon, so I was pretty gutted. My younger son's going, "Oh, just cook it, mum." I went, "No, it's nearly a week. It's like 5, 6 days old. You can't do that. You won't smell bacteria, but it could still be there." So that had to go in the bin. Gutted. Then what else did I do? Oh, I forgot to get the prawns out. That was for Boxing Day. So when I did get them out, they sat there and we never even cooked them. So they went in the bin because they were raw. There was another thing that happened and I just laughed. But I remember a time that would have really upset me. I would have
mhm,
literally, because my meal wasn't perfect, or this wasn't perfect, and I would have literally had a hissy fit because I hadn't delivered and laid the perfect table. And I just laughed and thought, "Oh, it's only a gammon. Oh, it's only prawns." My eldest said to me, "Dad, we got any bacon?" I went, "No, we've used it all in the last 2 days." And he went, "What? There's no breakfast?" I went, "No, I've cooked for because we had croissants and stuff like that." I went, "No, I'm done now. Finished. It's Saturday." But there would have been a time I would have still been giving nice little breakfasts for the next few days, right up to New Year's Day. Because New Year's
mm,
Day was the day I literally would sit down, stay in my pajamas, and chill because I'd stopped entertaining.
mm,
And I think that's the difference as well. Like I said, it's a good thing I slowed down. But if I'd had a partner here, I might have had a row over the gammon, but it's only me that I can be annoyed with. So it's interesting to know what other people went through because, all those out there are watching that had a lovely Christmas, lovely. But we do know there would have been people rowing for the silliest of reasons because we were trying to make 2 days, well, one day is the most important day, perfect. And it can't be perfect because we're not perfect human beings, are we? So we're always going to forget something.
no. And I think people have got to, in one respect, give yourself a bit of a break, you know what I mean? Because you can't make everything perfect and it is just a day. And anyone that sort of criticizes, makes fun, what have you, you just think on that at that moment you're probably thinking, "Oh, just, do it yourself, arsehole." You know what I mean? But this you just know for next time, don't you? Just think, "You know what? Just go abroad for Christmas," something like that. But let us know, guys, how was yours? Was there any little ding dongs that, that you wanna
Ding
share?
dong, merrily on high.
Yeah. Was there any little bits and bobs that went on that, you could do without? And as I said earlier, do you feel like that you have been shedding this year, for example? Do you feel like you have been, let's say, leaving folk behind when we're talking about family, especially, are there people that that you've had to take a step back from for your own mental health? Because as we said before, not all family units are healthy, are they? They're not always a good thing. Sometimes they're really toxic. Sometimes, for many people, I'm sure they've had either perfect childhoods or really good relationships with family members. But, at the same time, I mean, you can't get on with everybody, can you? You cannot. As much as you want to, as much as it sounds nice, you cannot get on with everybody. And that's why I feel sometimes, yes, you're born into the world and yes, you're part of one person and part of another biologically. However, there's been situations with people that have been adopted and you think, that situation may have been much more pleasant, healthy than their situation could have been had they stayed with the biological parents.
Mhm.
Sometimes we have to look back and think sometimes, back in the day, it was really frowned upon to have children out of wedlock and some were taken away and basically given away, wasn't there? There was lots of situations that could have happened where the parent would have loved to have kept their child, but they couldn't for whatever reason.
And also, there's so much onus put on having all the trimmings and having all the fancy Christmases. I remember my dad, I mean, he was only, him and his brother were obviously just the two. My nan brought him up on her own until she remarried and had her daughter. But they used to have a goose for Christmas Day. And I remember one year he went, "Can we have a goose for Christmas Day?" I went, "No, I want a turkey." He went, "I want a goose," because he was reliving his childhood. He wanted to go
Mm.
back to that. And he used to say we didn't have much money, but we'd have this goose, and my nan probably defluffed it, defeathered it herself, knowing her. You wouldn't take no. She took no prisoners. You wouldn't argue with her either. But he was remembering his days back in when his grand nan and granddad lived in Pontypridd, and how that was a big family, and they had very little money back in those days. People weren't extravagant like people are now, unless you lived in a stately home. Now it
Mm.
don't matter if you live in a council flat; you're still going to do all the trimmings. So in some ways, wouldn't it be nice if people could strip back and just go back to a bit of basics? Because maybe that's where the arguments, because I doubt if they had many arguments back in the old days when they were just really appreciative of having a nice dinner once a year.
A lot of the
Well,
times, I mean, you look back at the feminist side of it, and you probably got the mum who that was her job. You know
well,
what I
yeah,
mean?
there is that. I mean, my brother's like Jose. My brother is an ex-chef, so he does all the cooking in his house anyway, and he's always done all the Christmas dinner. But his wife cooks. She makes her own puddings, makes her own mince pies, makes her own Christmas cake, blends all the cocktails. She still cooks those bits. But my brother's always done the main cooking because he was a chef, and that's what he wanted to do.
And that's that, like you said, my other half, he's definitely a good chef. And you think, I'm very spoiled in the fact that I don't really, apart from my breakfast, I don't cook anything.
Well, I
So
I cook everything all year round, so maybe it was a good thing that it was slightly smaller. It was less stress for my daughter because she didn't have
mm,
to worry about those extra seats around the table. But then obviously it's a sad thing when you think, well, that's handy. There's not, they don't have to squeeze extra people in, extra dinners. I mean, we still plated their dinners up and I ran them round. So that affected my Christmas Day because I was conscious of the time and thought I need to get them dinners round to them. They're both in their 80s before it's too late, and then get myself off home. Where normally we would spend more of a day into an evening, but I was conscious, oh, must feed me mum, go and see her, then go home. But I was quite happy to be home in my PJs. But yeah, it'd be interesting to know what people's how they went, and the same old thing. I mean, we might as well move on to the old New Year's thing now, where people go, "Oh, next year I'm going away." You mentioned it just now. I'd never really want to go away unless I was honestly on my own, because there's nowhere you're going to go and have Christmas other than not cook it yourself. It's going to still feel like Christmas, is it? If you're not with.
well, that's it. I mean, I went to Tenerife this year. Me and my partner went to Tenerife. And I don't know why I did it. When you just like join a page that was like one was about Los Gigantes and one was about the actual hotel. And there was loads of people on there going to this hotel for Christmas. Now it's only a 3-star, but it was all right. It's very clean, very nice. But you got loads of people saying, well, are they doing anything Christmassy or anything for New Year or what have you? And I'm thinking, I don't, as much as I love being in the sun, and I do love Tenerife climate, I've got to be honest. I mean, it's pretty much warm all year. I couldn't imagine, right, going I mean, I might be the only one here, but I couldn't imagine going to, like, an all-inclusive meal where it's
Where you're
literally, isn't it?
sweating and dripping because it's bacon.
Yeah, and, it's like the buffet thing, you know what I mean? And you think,
Yeah, no.
it's not Christmassy. I mean,
Maybe I always quite fancied like a log cabin-y thing or go to the Lake Districts or Scotland. I mean, obviously my heritage is Scotland, so I always have this pull to Scotland and like a castle,
yeah,
you know. Having a great big like rent out a castle and you're all there and you're in this stately home and people come in and bring the dinner, but it's still Christmas dinner.
be up for that
Yeah,
because it would
that I'd
feel
like.
like, something with like a log, like you said, a log cabin with a log fire
Yeah.
burner
It
and
would still more the family to do it. I mean, we did talk about that this year. We said, I wonder if we should just book that and get food delivered in and have someone cook it. Who do we think we are? We haven't won the lottery. But in the way to stop it being so stressful for everyone. I mean, I laugh at my daughter. She did a really good job, and it's not her first Christmas dinner. She's done it a couple of times over the years. But I did it. I mean, my eldest will be 37 next birthday. I've been cooking for that amount of years, Christmas dinner, all but a couple of occasions. I've done it. Ever since I had children, I've cooked Christmas dinner. And I've, at one point, have had up to 14, 16 people sat at a table that I've cooked.
crikey.
Yeah. So maybe get back to that. I needed the smaller venue this time because you know that this year's been a struggle for me. So
Oh,
maybe my days of 14, 16 are done. I mean, and we had a nice evening, didn't we? Pre-Christmas, just before the weekend before we had. I
oh, that
did,
was really nice, yeah.
but so it's not like you said we're not seeing people or doing things, but it is just such an onus. So I wonder after everyone's gone, oh, next year we're going away. Next year we're going to go and eat out. Or well, I wouldn't pay nearly £200 to eat out.
No, I mean, it's
Because
like
I don't think there's anywhere here I'd want to eat either and pay that money and not get the standard that you'd normally
it's
get.
about 70-ish, £75 for a three-course meal out, and you think
On a basic, somewhere like the Harvester, that would have
and
been,
that
but
would be basic, yeah.
in your Queen's Hotel, where I have a few people that go every year, you'll look going more towards 200 with your drinks. And I just think, I wouldn't pay that. I
No
wouldn't pay
way.
it. Well, yeah, and also it wouldn't have the same feel, so I wouldn't do that. I'd pay, like I said, if we all went together and went to a lodge where after they've gone, we can still kick off, put our PJs on. I mean, I can't, each to their own. But when you see all the PJ pictures, when they're all in their PJs, what happened to dressing up on Christmas Day? Why is everyone in their PJs now and don't get dressed?
It's a thing,
And they all
it's a
match.
thing.
But yeah, I laugh at that because I just think, oh my, yeah, we all put our best clothes on because it was the only time you dressed up. Obviously, got your goose fat down it when you're doing the roast potatoes, but hey ho. But it'd be interesting how many people said that, but never still do it. A friend of mine always says it, and I go, "You say it every year, and you still don't do it." And she still cooks loads of food and does all that. And her spread does look nice, so I always know I can have a meal there if I'm ever on my own. But going towards now, we're going towards New Year's Eve. Obviously, for me, I've got my mum's birthday. I've got my youngest son's birthday. Can't forget that one because he'll kill me. And then obviously it's New Year's Eve. Quite frankly, I'll be quite happy to get into the new year. Not because I make New Year's resolutions, because again, I don't go into all that silliness. If you're going to change something about yourself, do it when you wake up on that day and decide to do it. Don't wait for a new year to do it. I'm a little bit.
No, every day is a new year,
Yeah,
if you think
every
about
day,
it.
if you make a mistake or say something to someone you shouldn't have done, you can't take it back, no, but you get up the next day and you can make amends or try and change what you've
Thing
done or
is, though, if I've said something to somebody, I actually meant it and won't
well, yeah.
take it
I mean,
back.
I don't normally take mine back either. But what I mean is, you don't have to wait for a New Year's resolution. Do
Mm.
you? With people that struggle with addiction, they don't have to go. I'll wait till New Year's Day and I'll give up drink and drugs. That each day starts with them when they try and do it, and they keep doing
Mm.
it until they stop doing it. So it makes me like, oh, in the new year, I'll stop it. I'll go on a diet. Well, we'll go on a diet now. Do something about it. Yeah, I always find it funny. I've always found it funny. I have no insight. I mean, obviously, with my wellness side of my work, I do plug that in January. Of course, I do, because I know that people are going to be going, oh, I need to do something about this. And obviously, I've got a business to run, but I don't get why everyone in the new year, I'm going to stop doing this. Usually, they reckon on average lasts about 4 to 5 days and you give up anyway. They reckon by day, but I think it is about the 6th of January, you stop whatever you've decided you're going to do. So that's a waste of time. So maybe wait till mid-January when you're really feeling the pinch, because your wages always seem longer. The bills seem more expensive and everything seems to stretch longer, doesn't it, in January?
Mm.
then maybe give up. But I wonder how many people are out there now, when they watch this, when it goes out, already put their New Year's resolutions ready on a list to do.
I haven't made one for years. Don't intend to make one ever again. Like you, I was going to say if I had something I wanted to change it because that day it inspired me to do it, and I've got to go with it. The funny thing is, I wouldn't probably tell people anyway because if it was give up vaping, then everyone would be commenting on the fact that if I did it, then it would be like, "Oh, I thought you were giving up."
Have you given
It's
up
not.
vaping?
I haven't. No, it's here. Proud as punch. But no, it's something that I would like to do, certainly less of, but I'm going to have to be in the right mind frame to do that. So I'm not going to make any promises. I'm going to do it when it feels the right time or just try and cut down and do other things. Probably my house will be the cleanest it's ever been when I do decide to do that because I have to do something. But yeah, it is going to be one of those things that, at the end of the day, the only reason I'm doing it, I like doing it. I like smoking. I can't lie. I like vaping. I can't lie. But I've just got to be in the right frame of mind to be able, and something else that's going to take my mind off it, if that makes sense. So it might be Nicorette gum. I don't know. We'll see.
Putting the correct patch on. What was I going to? Because I was going to say something about New Year, and that's gone. See, this is how subdued by Christmas. I'm literally sometimes feel like I've been in a time warp. Obviously, we've talked a few times about the Chinese astrology year, which actually officially starts in February, I think, doesn't it? End of January, February is the actual Chinese New Year. And obviously, I have shared, anyone that's looked at my business page, I often share about the year of the snake disappearing and going into the fire horse. Reason I plug that more is because, as you know, I've had a horrendous decade. I can't say. I mean, this year has been bad. We won't even smooth that over. This year has been bad. But in all truthfulness, this decade has been probably one of the most demanding I've had. But learned a lot about myself, and obviously got on my spiritual path. So actually, I had to learn all that, didn't I, to be what I do. And I think it's funny when people say to me, "Oh, I expect you don't understand this," like in a client, and I go, No, no, I probably do, no, because I've probably done it." But the reason I was so thinking about the year of the horse is because obviously the last fire horse was in 1966, and that was the year I was born. So I can't believe it's taken it 60 years to come back. But this year of the horse, the fire horse, if you are into the Chinese astrology, is all about making breakthroughs, going through, taking it head on, dealing with it. Not any of this crap that you've been dealing with the snake shedding, but actually taking back some control. So for me, I've looked at it as more of a power thing, not power to me, but in a way that this has been a tough decade, but this is a turning for me now because it
Maybe more that, like,
can't
I
be
know
any
you said a
worse, can
power
it?
thing, but it's I would say more empowering
Empower
because,
Yeah, that
yeah,
empowering of and taking things and doing something about it now, not sitting there and embracing whatever does happen. And I think that's probably what this end of this year has been about for me as well, to start looking at different things anyway. But I do keep plugging it. So if anyone keeps seeing that on my page and think, God, why should she keep sharing that? Well, that's why, because the last fire horse was 1966 and it was the year I was born. And my very good friend brought me back from Japan the horse, the little statue of the horse as well. But I don't think she realised that this actual fire horse, as it's known, is actually when I was born. An interesting
back in
fact.
the day,
Back in the
back in the
day,
day.
Back in the day when all those years ago. But another interesting fact, I like to do my research. Well, I'm just interested. I have my head in a book all the time. That year was quite a turbulent year for a lot of people in 1966. It brought quite a lot of changes in economy and world changes. I didn't read too much into it, so I can't list off what they were. I do remember we won the World Cup, and the only time we won the World Cup, I do believe. So that was all the men remember. But it was actually quite a year of economical change. And when you think what's been going on in the 2025, it is weird that the beginning of the new fire horse is actually leaving behind some of that disruption that started back in 1966.
Oh,
People have to Google it and do their own research because, like I said, I only read it briefly, but found it quite fascinating that
so we'll
that
have to
year.
see if England win in
Yeah, I
2026 in
don't
anything.
particularly care whether England wins. Sorry, not a football fan. Despite everyone playing football in my family, the boys and sons, I am not a football fan. But it is interesting how we know in cycles things keep coming back and repeating themselves. And again, with the current climate of things that are going on and the current animosity around people, where you can't even sit anywhere and have a conversation now without someone disagreeing with, I mean, sod Christmas. Someone can't sit and have a normal conversation now without one of them people mentioning something that may be left or right that's going to offend the other. I've noticed it
Yeah.
a lot more. I've even noticed that I'm sitting in those circles where I'm thinking I'm going to diffuse this quite quickly before this goes too far. That in itself has shown how we've forgot that we're human. We've all seemed to have, well, not all of us, because I don't think we have, but I think there's a lot of people out there that have forgot that they are human beings and we are meant to be caring to human beings, whatever their race, creed, beliefs, or anything else. We are meant to care about other human beings. So
Mm.
that said, I see a boat went down a couple of days ago. A boat sank in the sea, and I think the majority of those on the boat died. They haven't been found. And apparently, this is only I'm picking up on bits and pieces because, like I said, I can't be doing that social media. But people, just as they sat down for their Christmas dinner, were doing thumbs up and laughing emojis because that had happened. And despite what your beliefs are or why you think people are travelling over our choppy seas, that is human beings that died.
Absolutely. It's getting bad, isn't it?
It's getting bad. On a time of year when you're meant to be more charitable, you can tuck into your turkey and have thought so badly of that because I just can't get my head around that.
Yeah.
Whatever you feel they're coming over for, that's still life been taken. It's a
Yeah.
sad state of affairs. So I'm hoping the new 2026 will start kicking some of this into touch and stop people being so.
Cruel and
Yeah,
almost
that's the only way. Yeah,
senseless, heartless. But listen, we're going to have to wrap this up. So something to think about, guys at home. Do be kind to other people. No, not everyone's always in a great position. Some people are very lonely. Some people haven't got somebody to talk to. You know, if it's appropriate, just help them out, become their family in some way, you know, in whatever way that is. Do the things that we used to do, like have that community spirit and help somebody out, an elderly person, a vulnerable person, somebody with a disability. They're all still human beings. They're all still people that need someone, an interaction and some sort of care and love. And in whatever way you do it, just do it because you want to do it. Do it because you've got a big heart. Do it because, you know, you want to spread a bit of love. And, you know, like Jane said, you know, don't get pulled into things like the media, arguing with people all the time about, you know, left and right and, you know, what have you. Keep your thoughts, you know, keep your thoughts to yourself. Just be a human, be a nice person, unless you're in some sort of debate, in which case that's totally acceptable. But there's so much divide in the world at the moment. There's been divide in families, friends, communities. It would just be really nice, wouldn't it, for 2026 to be for people to be a bit nicer to people.
it would, and I think that's the thing that I just coming up to Christmas. Even a few people I know have fell out with their mums or their daughters over this constant debate on the current state of immigration and stuff like that. And I think that is bad. I mean, COVID was bad enough. COVID divided people. But for this to now divide a family, why can't you just have different opinions?
Mm,
Why have people got to start, blocking people, refusing to see them, even messaging them and saying, I don't want to be your daughter no more, your granddaughter no more because of your views?
mm.
What's happened? On that note, because it will be New Year's Eve and we will not be back until the new year. So we want to wish everyone a happy new year or whatever you're doing. Me, I'll be with a snowball in one hand and PJs on. I picked a card, Polly,
You do your card.
and guess what it was?
What?
So this is the card I picked for the new year.
I can't even see that. Sun?
The sun.
Oh,
I'll presume it in as much as I can to anyone that can see when they watch it. The sun. One of my favourite cards, but also because our decks that we use, this is very much based on astrology, so you can see all the planets going around. But the sun is about fire. So there we are again, the fire horse. But it is about happier times. It is about happier times. It is about celebration. It is about art. To me, it's always been about taking a step forward and doing something that makes you smile because the sun makes most people smile, like you said in Tenerife. But when I turned it, that turning of the planets and the way that astrology symbol was just slightly at an angle drew me in first. And I do feel there is going to be a massive tilting and a massive changing that's going to happen in the world, probably by February, March, where people are going to see things differently, see things in a different light. I hope for the better. I'm not. I mean, we might predict, but we're not going to change world politics overnight.
Mm.
I think that's silly. But for me, that does bring in a much happier time. Like you said, it's not about New Year revolutions. It's not about changing anything just because it's New Year's Day. It's actually showing every year people go, "Oh, that was an awful year. This one better be better." And unfortunately, in the last few years, things haven't got better for lots of people because the world hasn't got better. For me, that sun around the world is showing that we make the change. It's us that makes it better. We can't sit and wait for everybody else to do it. So if we all change something in ourselves and made things nicer, or like Polly said just now, be kinder to someone, one person even, your mission to do something nice to a stranger once a week, once a day, up to you. If we all actually changed our attitudes, that sun card to me shows us hope for 2026. So there you go.
Absolutely. So on that note, we're going to say goodbye and see you in the new
We'll
year.
see you in it. Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you do, whether it's on your own, with your pets, watching TV, watching Stranger Things, which I'll be doing on New Year's Day.
Two grown women and we're literally addicted to Stranger Things and
I don't care.
Vecna.
I
On
love it.
that note, did you know that Vecna was trained in Petersfield Theatre School and went to a school just outside Petersfield where a friend of mine works? So where we are watching him in his glory, and he's not been that far away from us growing up. See me?
Right, guys, we'll
Font
see
of all
you.
knowledge, me.
We'll see you in the new year. Whatever you do, have a great
Yep.
one,
Happy
and
New
we'll see you
Year.
soon.
See you in 2026. Bye.
Bye.